Hello, in this video I want to talk about a specific type of damage that you may encounter when working on these rail cars, on these bridge decks. So let's jump right into it. Here we have two 89-foot flat cars side by side with our typical precast abutments and our typical guardrail package we have there. So let's go ahead and kind of peel away here, and we can talk about what I'm going to be looking for in regards to deck damage. Okay, so we got a nice cross section. Actually, I'm going to move that a little bit further back, maybe about right there. That's perfect. Okay, so just to make it easier for you, I'm going to delete one of these rail cars. That way you only see one. Maybe easier for you to grasp what I'm trying to do here. Explain. Okay, so here we have this rail car, and sometimes when we get these rail cars in, they will have a little bit of deck damage, meaning that something's been dropped on the deck, whatever they were hauling on the railroad tracks, and it gets dropped, and so the deck will have a little bit of damage. So when do I start becoming concerned about the severity of the deck damage? Now, this is just my opinion. It's not the opinion of our engineers. It's not even our Paragon's official position. It's just my personal opinion when I'm out there as a railcar inspector. What am I looking for? Okay, so what I'm looking for when the deck is damaged, I'm looking to see where the damage is at. Uh, where the location of the ding is more important than how big the ding is. Even if there's let's say this thing was hauling um, something that was long and tall, and it fell and it punctured a hole. Where is that hole critical, and where is it not so critical? And really it has to do with the center sill right here. You can see this piece right here. If there's significant damage to the deck right above here, anywhere in this plate, this is about 30 inches wide. So if there's any damage in the middle section, any significant damage in the middle section of this rail car running right in the middle down the length, if you're on top of the rail car, you really can't notice where that center sill is at. So just measure and mark the center, and about 15 inches on each side of center line, that's going to be where the center sill is at. Okay, so in that area, we want to be very careful what kind of damage we're seeing, because that is the most important part of the rail car is this. Okay, now if you do have a little bit of damage on this, and maybe something fell over in this area here and it bent this flange down a little bit, that's where it starts becoming a little questionable. Maybe not as important to me. We can heat that up and bend it, or fix it, or do something with it, but it's still doable, not as important. But this web here is very important. If the deck is damaged to the point where let's say something fell right here, and this center sill here, this web, this is called the center sill bottom flange, this is a top flange, so you have two webs. If this web is damaged or buckled, that's when I started getting a bit nervous about the structural capacity or integrity of the rail car. Okay, so that's the critical piece here. We don't want that web to be damaged. If that top flange is a little bit bent, not that big of a deal. If there's weld broken, then that's obviously needs to be repaired. That's easy. Broken welds are easy to be fixed. But a bent center sill web, that's a much bigger job than just straightening out this flange or welding a broken weld. Now, when you get to damage over here, this is not nearly as important as damage over here. Usually when you see significant deck damage, it'll be somewhere in between these cross members. It'll be here, or it'll be here, or it'll be here, and sometimes here, right? But this is it's marginally important, but not terribly important. That can be fixed up pretty easily. Or if there's a dent in this area right here, if there's a dent in between these two cross members right here, I'm not very concerned about it. Even if there's a hole, let's say there's a 2-inch by 6-inch hole right in this area here, I'm not going to be very concerned about it, because the weight when a vehicle crosses this bridge is still going from the vehicle tire to the steel deck, it's spanning these cross members and transferring the weight from these cross members to this cross member and back over this main beam. So this main beam is really taking all the weight. That's really the critical part. Okay. Let's see. Let me look at the end of this rail car is a little bit different. All right, so because it has these tubes, these C channels that are kind of look like that. So in this particular case, in the outboard portion of the rail car, just about anywhere on the deck over here isn't all that important, as long as it's not touching this center sail web. Let me I'm gonna get a cross section of that as well. We'll pull that back. Okay. Well, maybe you can't tell that well there. Let me zoom in, see if that helps. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go in the other direction. I'm going to go in this direction here. I'm going to peel that back. Oh, that's perfect. Okay. Let me get rid of that stuff. Okay. So here, if there was deck damage anywhere inside here, even if there was deck damage right above this C channel here, you know, in this little pocket here or over here, it's really not that big of a deal. We can live with that. I'm not gonna worry about that too much. But if there's damage to this flange here, this is the center sail web, center sail top flange over here. If there's damage to that web, then I'm going to be much more concerned. Okay, so hopefully that helps. The location of the deck damage is pretty important. So long as that center sail is in good shape. Let me see if this helps at all. I'll show you a cross section of that deck over here. You can see so if that deck was damaged anywhere inside here, away from the center sail, I guess that's not a very good cross section cut to illustrate that. Let me just take all that stuff off. So any kind of deck damage over in this area, I'm not so concerned about. This is the critical part. It's just that center sail. Okay, so as we go outboard, sometimes you will find over here there's usually a hole in the deck, little maybe 3-inch hole that holds some. Actually, it's further back. It's like right over here somewhere. It holds the a pin in place. So on the deck, you'll see a little hole. Usually that's patched up, but it's not that important. One little hole there isn't that important, especially if you patch it up. So if you're looking at the rail car, measure the center line, and then about 15 inches from each side. That's going to be the important part. Okay. And even if there is some dents and dings, usually we let them be. It's not a big deal unless that center sail web is damaged. Of course, that's just my opinion. You're always encouraged to use your own structural engineer to determine, based on your situation, if it's going to work for you. Okay, so that's it.